everybody. Welcome to Tech Take. I'm Marthel Neville. I'm in for Adam Housley today, so we're going to get started. It's 'tis the season, right, to go shopping. But these days, some of us go to the brick and mortar, but a lot of us go online. Click, 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 and get everything done. So we're doing it online, of course. We're using our cell phones more than ever, which means that we're putting ourselves at risk for having identities stolen. That's not so good. It can happen over the internet, and of course, you subject yourself to being fraud. But we have some great guests today to help us walk through this. Siobhan MacDermott is here, and J.R. Smith. They're both here to help consumers, help us all learn how to protect ourselves. Siobhan, you are the Chief Policy Officer over at AVG Technologies, and J.R., you're the CEO over at AVG Technologies. Good to see both of you.
Thank you for having us.
So again, you know, what we're going to do is, you guys were great, and you brought a list of do's and don'ts, if you will. So we'll go over that list with you. I'm going to read off the list, and then I'll come back and have you guys explain what that all means, all right? So first of all, we'll talk about this, how to protect your personal data online. You set your Facebook privacy settings, limit or block cookies, use passwords effectively and organize them, look for telltale signs of cell phone hacking, and install a simple-to-use security solution. So again, we're going to break these down one by one. Siobhan, I'll start with you. Set your Facebook privacy settings.
I think one of the most important things is that people don't necessarily realize that when they're posting something to Facebook, it could be public. It could be visible to everybody. So one of the important things is to go into settings, to go down to the privacy section. Make sure that your posts are only visible to people that you want them to be visible to. So making sure that you're linking things that, you know, your friends can see what you're linking, but not necessarily everybody who just looks for your Facebook profile can see.
Yeah. So
it's important to make sure that you take a look at those and that you enable them and that you lock them down so that you're not just broadcasting information out to everybody.
And is that really safe? Because, you know, we've seen the stories, read the stories, that even with your privacy settings in place, people are still sort of, you know, information is leaking out there.
Well, I think it is safe. I mean, the challenge is getting to it and figuring out how to do it. That's not necessarily the easy part, because you've got to figure out where it is and go and click through and get to the privacy settings to make sure that you lock them down. And you have to make sure that you consistently check it.
Now, JR, how do you limit your cookies, or you say block them as well?
Yeah, you can go into your browser and you can just set it so it will limit either first-party cookies, which is basically the site you're on, say that's Amazon or Facebook, and also limit third-party cookies, which would be the cookies that are being added to your sites or to your browser when you're visiting. And we had some information recently that says usually when you're visiting a website, up to 65 different cookies or pieces of code are attached to your browser when you visit that site. Those are tracking.
Yeah, of course they are. I mean, I like cookies, but not that kind.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, really. So you can go in your server in settings,
your browser
settings.
Browser setting, block cookies.
And it's very clear. It says block
Very
cookies.
straightforward.
All right,
very
that's
straightforward.
Very good, very good. And you should do that not just now, but just occasionally all the time anyway, right? Throughout the course of using your computer.
Yeah.
Okay, use passwords effectively and organize them. You take that one as well, JR.
Great. I think one of the biggest things that you can do to help yourself, especially during the holidays, is whenever you're accessing a website, make sure you've got a different password and change those passwords regularly. So every 3 to 6 months, change them up. We find that about 80% of the time, if someone gets into one platform and gets your password, it means they're going to be able to get into the others.
Wow.
Because a lot of people use the same across the board, because it's easy.
And then,
right, so
and like you said, you say you change them up, but you have to organize them.
I know, it's a pain.
Because you don't know. You forget your own passwords. That's why people use the same ones over and over. So how do you organize them?
Well, you can use a password manager tool, software tool that is a plug into your browser, which helps an awful lot. And they automatically will make it dynamic, and they'll change them on a regular basis, but you've got one for all your websites.
So how does that work? What do you mean?
There's various software tools out there that'll plug into your browser, and you can go in and you can then connect all your sites, like it's Facebook, it's Twitter, maybe it's some e-commerce, Amazon, whatever it might be. And you can put the passwords, usernames and passwords to those sites into that software, and then it will automatically let you log in through that program, and you can use one username and password, but it will automatically and dynamically go to all your sites and keep it also very secure. That's a great way to do it.
Now, is there a particular, what do you call it, app or
There's probably
place to go for those?
25 of them out there. If you put in password management into Google, you'll find
But they're fairly safe when you see the ones that pop up.
Yeah.
Okay. Siobhan, let me get back to you. So you look for telltale signs for cell phone hacking, and then you install a simple-to-use security solution.
Right, so you want to, just like you protect your computer, you want to make sure your cell phone is protected, because all of the access, you're doing mobile commerce on your phone, you're doing banking, you're doing that. You want to make sure that you have the same SSL encryption on your phone that you do when you're using your regular browser. And you also want to install antivirus software on your phone and make sure that you have the ability to remotely wipe it or disable it if it gets lost or stolen as well.
We know you can do that for the iPhone. Can you do that for an Android phone as well?
Yes, you can. There are various security solutions out there that you can remotely wipe the phone and delete the information that's on it.
Okay. And again, that's something you can Google and find various companies that offer that type of software.
We do it.
You do it. You know what? Forget I just said that. We go right to the source. We go to AVG Technologies. Is it .com?
AVG.com.
Yeah.
AVG.com.
Or into the Google Marketplace or into iTunes.
AVG.com. I'll go visit you guys and check it out. And it's free. That's a good price. Okay, so now we have another full screen to share everybody, because it's holiday shopping time. And who has a lot of time to go to all the stores? So you go online, right? So here are ways to safely shop online during the holiday season. You use brand name merchants. You seek feedback on customer experiences. Check for the SSL protocol. Use a credit card that insures against fraud. I can't wait to hear about that one. And be sure about using a public. Be careful about using a public hotspot to shop. I mean, I just think that's kind of crazy, that last one. Just don't do it. Don't go to a public hotspot. That's just my opinion. But you guys are the experts, so let's go back to the top and break it down. Use brand name merchants.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the important thing is, if you're using brand name reputable merchants, they have certain security requirements that they've met as part of their own due diligence as a company, and there are also some insurances in there that, if your identity is compromised, there are certain things and remedies you can take against them. So it's always important to do that and not to just go and buy off of a site that you've never heard of before, that, it looks like it's sort of thrown up dodgy on a web page.
Right. Which is important, because you know what happens. You're looking for that hard-to-find gift, and you Google it, you search it, and you find it, and it's some weird website, like you said. So guess what? Even if you find it and you save $100 on that item at this weird, unknown, no-name website, be careful, because could be getting more than you bargained for. Okay, so you seek feedback on customer experiences. So, for instance, if I had gone to website XYZ to purchase something, you want to read to see, like, don't do it, I got ripped off, or whatever, right?
Yeah, basically.
Or it's okay.
There's lots of customer feedback out there all the time.
Yeah, and that's the best way, because they're not partisan. Okay, check, again, you already said check for the SSL protocol, and then use a credit card that insures against fraud.
It's a couple of things, really. There's one that most credit cards have fraud, protection. They'll sometimes even alert you if someone's using it or whatever that might be. But I think it's really important, because since that's pretty standard, is to use one credit card only when you're shopping online, especially during the Christmas season, and make sure it's got a really low balance.
Yeah.
So in the event somebody gets your information, it limits the damage.
Limits the damage. Well, not just a low balance, low credit limit is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But even if, let's say, for instance, you already have a credit card that's set up that has, whatever your limit is, you don't want to go get a new credit card, but what you're saying, JR, you make sure that credit card has pretty much a zero or very low balance.
Maybe
so suddenly exactly, 500. So when the bill comes in, you realize, like, holy smokes, wait a minute, I didn't charge like $3,000 on this credit card. Otherwise, it could kind of get padded in there. All right, that's good. So, and finally, it says be careful about using a public hotspot to shop. Seriously? I mean, you don't do it while you're sitting there having a cup of coffee. I'm just saying. Who am I? But I'm just saying. Take it away, guys.
No, I think you're exactly right. I think there's lots of secure hotspots you can use, but it's really easy. There's lots of programs out there that are open source that anybody can download, put on their computer, and sit in a hotspot and read your data off your computer. So, like you said, just don't do it.
However, a lot of people are sitting there at whatever coffee shop, nothing against a coffee shop or a cell phone hotspot, if you will.
Yeah.
You're saying, just generally speaking, great, if you want to download your latest magazine, your latest, newspaper, whatever, that's fine. But you kind of
have to be careful.
Even then.
Because once you're connected, that gives them access. You punch a hole in your firewall, you're right there.
Access to your computer, period.
Right. Mails, viewing the web doesn't really matter. So just be really careful of public hotspots.
That's serious.
Yeah.
I mean, why am I saying holy smokes so much today? I have no idea. I pretty much haven't used that in about 15 years. And today I'm making up for lost all the time, apparently. What's the... All right.
That's the line.
So we're going to be wrapping up. Before we go, though, speaking of one question I ask you, generally speaking, are there special precautions that apply to mobile devices concerning online privacy? Because we're really kind of reducing ourselves to doing it right here in the palm of our hands.
Yeah, I think what people don't necessarily realize is that phone, it's a mobile wallet. It's got everything your computer has on it, and so it's become a target just like your computer. And so it's super important because it's even more of a device because you carry it everywhere you go. Right? It can locate you from a geo-tracking perspective. Operators can access your emails. They can see everything that's on that phone, all your apps. There's just a lot of information there that's accessible. So be sure and have some kind of software on there, privacy and security software on that phone.
I would say one other thing. When you're downloading applications, the same rule applies. Make sure they're legitimate applications from legitimate providers, because those applications can then go and access your email. They can access your phone book.
Siobhan, even the legitimate ones that you don't see the fine print, they said, okay, if you download this app, it's a really cool app and it's a legitimate app, but we're going to be calling your grandmother because we have her phone number now. I mean, seriously, we're going to be. I mean, why? That kind of scares me. And I'm pretty much paranoid about it, but I've sort of gotten past that. And I'm trying to just, to get into using more of the apps. But they ask for so much information, access.
They do, and there are ways to limit it. So you can turn off ad tracking on certain phones and different operating systems.
Okay.
But also, I mean, look at it and pay attention. I mean, the whole privacy policy is, way too long to read on a cell phone. But be aware of what you're downloading and make sure that they're legitimate.
Don't just click next as you're installing, because a lot of privacy regulations require them to ask you. They don't always.
Yeah.
But at least read during the installation.
All right, AVG.com is the place to go for all of the information we talked about today. J.R. Smith, Siobhan MacDermott, thank you to both of you. Very important information, so appreciate it.